Hello viewers, we are so excited to have you back with us on this episode of The Insight, brought to you by Oryxgroupmedia. On this platform, we bring you the best in entertainment, sports, investment, trade, tourism, anything you can think about, as long as it deals with our existence. Okay, on today's show, it promises to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I believe our guest and my co-host, we're all looking forward to this. I am Famous Aluya, and I'm not alone. My co-host is here. She is a singer, songwriter, a model, a brand influencer, Delisha. I don't know. I just want to keep calling your titles. You're super talented.
Thank you so much.
I envy you on that. I wish I can do half of what you do.
Wow. Thank you so much, the African Sheikh. I'm so humbled, really.
It's my pleasure.
So, our wonderful viewers, welcome to yet another amazing podcast on The Insight. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Delisha Chetty. Today, we'll explore the impact of community organizations to the diaspora. These organizations are crucial as they offer support and foster a sense of belonging among expats. They provide resources and connections that help people adapt to life in a new country, easing the cultural and social shift, language barriers, and other challenges.
To discuss this, we are taking things up on a notch with two community leaders. We'll be talking about a range of issues involving communities, nationals, expats who are here in Qatar making a living. And to discuss this today, we have Dr. Omar Farah, a Kenyan, who is the chairperson of the Kenya community in Qatar. He is an ex-Kenya Air Force personnel and a security specialist. He is an advanced situation awareness specialist, certified lead auditor on information security management, certified information security manager, and currently a senior information security specialist with one of the ministries in Qatar. Dr. Omar has lived in Qatar, in the GCC, cumulatively for 21 years. This is amazing.
Wow.
And from these 21 years, 19 years in Qatar. Mm-hmm. He has stayed so long in Qatar, so he had so much to tell us today. And he has spent 2 years in Saudi Arabia. Also with us today, we have Mr. Xavier Yana, a Cameroonian who is the chairperson of the Cameroon Community in Qatar and has been living in Qatar for 11 years. He works in the construction sector. He is married to a Sri Lanka woman. That is cross-culture. Cross-culture.
Amazing.
Yeah. This gentleman speaks English and French. And please join us to welcome our guest, Dr. Farah, Omar, and Mr. Xavier.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us in our studio today.
Thank you so much.
Insight. We appreciate being here.
Thank you. It's so awesome. It's so awesome seeing that in Qatar we have community organizations that have been existing over time, which means or which tells that in Qatar there is a freedom of association. Is that correct?
Agreed.
So it's a good thing. Do you belong to any association?
Do I belong to one?
You're from South
Yes,
Africa.
of course I belong to one, but I'm not going to tell you.
No, it's a good thing. I
Yes,
belong
it's
to
very
an
good to be.
association also. So it's a good thing to see communities growing up in Qatar, developing, bringing people together, and also supporting nationals who are here on different issues.
Okay.
So today we'll be talking about some of these issues. It's actually, Delisha, it's actually the part one because we have several community leaders that will be coming on this platform.
Oh, wow.
So these are the very first
Just
community
the
leaders
beginning.
we are having on the Insight.
Wow.
So thank you very much for accepting to join us today. So we'll just jump straight to the question, and I think it's good before we start that yes, we've read your bio, but it's also good for our viewers to know a little bit more about your community.
Okay.
And what's your community about? Just give us a brief on that, and before we go into the questions, mainly.
Talking about the Kenyan community, the organization itself just started a few months before Corona.
Okay.
Actually, it was more or less like God had prepared us for Corona. Because were it not for the organization, distribution of food will be a problem because there will be no structure. So 2 months before Corona, we had the organization set up. And it really helped us during the time of Corona with food distribution and distress issues. Up to and including evacuation, because we had a lot of people losing jobs during that time. So we had to arrange for at least 3 flights for people to go before they were closing, because they were closing the flights.
Borders, yeah.
So we sent in 3 flights to Nairobi for that purpose.
That's a good
for
one.
those people who had lost some jobs here in Qatar. Value for the community, I think it has value.
Okay.
It has been supporting the community. I'm not saying we are 100%, but I can tell for sure it's work in progress.
Okay.
Yes, so the community initiative is worth exploring.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's work in progress.
Yes.
The most important thing is it's existing.
Yes.
So when we keep building, we keep growing, and the community gets bigger and people get more benefits.
Agreed.
So, Mr. Xavier, what would you have to say about your community?
Since 2013, we had what we call a Cameroonian diaspora in Qatar, and then along the line, the association did not go through because of some other challenges. Later on, in 2020, we had a brother who passed on here in Qatar, and then it was that more difficult for us to send him home. So there was a call, and then and a need of a community to be in place as well. So we gathered together and we put in place a community called CDCQ, CCQ rather, that is Cameroonian Community in Qatar. So it was good, and we started to comfort ourselves. That was actually an eye-opening for us, like we cannot live in a foreign land without, a place where we all belong. And then from there, we pick it up to another, the same community, but that changed to Cameroonian diaspora community. Like it changed from Cameroonian community in Qatar to Cameroonian diaspora community in Qatar. And so far, we are okay. Everybody, I wouldn't say everybody belong, but we have a platform where either you visit in Qatar or you're residing in Qatar, you have to belong to. And then, we can also to build ourselves together. And even if we have, of course, other challenges, which we may likely we will be discussing later on. But at the end of the day, that's how we got.
That's a good one.
Mr. Xavier, so we know that it's a bit challenging for the Cameroonian community without an embassy here. So how challenging is it while assessing consular services? And also, how do you go about solving these problems in Qatar concerning the ID and labor issues and so on and so forth without an embassy? Can you please tell us about that?
Yeah, indeed, it's actually really challenging because when you consider that you can't stay in a land without, legal documents, and we know that we need like requirements when it comes to job employment, even with some other legal, documents, you cannot really do without that. So basically, our embassy or the embassy that covers us in the Middle East is based in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
And then so far we have a consulate in Dubai. But unfortunately, we are unable to process our document with the consulate, so we have to fall back to our embassy.
Okay.
And the embassy covers all the countries in the Middle East and out of the Middle East, which means that it's not like that much easy when it comes to you send a document and the next day you can pick it up. No, it's not. It takes a lot. Even the fact that we have to use Aramex, for example, which is one of our partners, we have to use them to be sending our documents and have to process the document. We have to get them back. It's not really an easy task, but we try as much as we can in order to serve even, our people within our means. Yeah, so it's kind of challenging. And again, when it comes to ID issues and all that, basically in our community, we have like some key positions. We have somebody or a department who's in charge of, legal issues of the community. Sometimes when there is issue related to the ID or maybe other issues related to our people, we send those dedicated people to follow up with the cases and all that. So that is how we try to minimize, even issues and pressure on our people by so doing.
I see. Yeah. Very well.
You're talking about the sending of documents out of Qatar in order to get processes because of the fact they don't have an embassy. Who covers this cost?
Yeah, basically, like what I said, we have the partner. Like Aramex is our partner. There is at least a discount that they're giving to us. Then, of course, the people that send the document have to cover the cost because basically our community is like, we don't have a sponsor or we don't have any other means to get money, which means that if you have to send your document, of course, you have to ensure that you pay, the fee. The advantage is that the more documents we have, the less money they have to pay. Some they pay probably maybe 10 reals per document. That makes it makes sense. So that's how we proceed.
That's a good one, but let's assume since there's no embassy, so it means there's no direct access to information. So there are Cameroonians who just come into Qatar, okay, and they don't know if there's an organization. So if they go online to make any search, Cameroon Community in Qatar, would they find anything?
Yeah, there is. We have a website.
You have a website?
Yeah, we have a website, okay, yes. Okay. And the numbers are there. The contact number is there as well.
What was the website?
The website is Cameroonians Community in Qatar. Yeah, and then we have somebody who, the IT administrator who has the contact number. Okay. So we have the website.
So why I ask is because there will be Cameroonians who are watching who wants to know, okay, we've seen a Cameroonian leader, so let's know how to reach out to them. So with that, they've heard it, and viewers, you've heard from the chairman of the Cameroon Community in Qatar. They are online. You can reach out to them if you have any inquiry, you need any support, whether consular or internal issues here in Qatar. Please don't hesitate to reach out to your community. See, it's very important to affiliate with communities. It's very important to identify. Let me use that better word. Because from Africa, we know the value of community. We know communal living is how we grew up. Okay, it's how nations exist back home. So coming here, we should continue the same thing. True. So it's very important for you to identify with your communities. What are you waiting for? If you have challenges, okay, the best person to talk to or to come to your aid is your brother.
Yeah, people back home.
Okay, where can you find that? Your community.
Yeah.
But that brings me to a question, Mr. Xavier. I got to know that Cameroon communities in Qatar are two factions. Very interesting topic, right? No, we want to know because the thing is, there are people out there who want to associate with community. Now, we've just had on our platform the chairman of the community. Then tomorrow they are somewhere else and they see another chairman. So how do you reconcile this? What do you want us to know about this?
Yeah, basically back to what you earlier said, I want to really appreciate you for bringing up this because a lot of Cameroonians came to Qatar and they did not know exactly how things have been done in Qatar. I think this platform it will really enable our people to know exactly, even before they get in, to know exactly who they can contact, how who they can reach out to when it comes to maybe knowing some, things related to Qatar. I think it is a very good platform for us, which I sincerely appreciate you guys for that.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And then back to what you said, actually, I wouldn't say there are two communities or Cameroonian community in Qatar. Like what I said, we had what we call first the diaspora that served even before I came to Qatar, and at some point wasn't functional again, and until one of our brothers passed away, that we say, oh, we cannot live like that. So there was a need for us to actually put in place a community that can carry actually people. So now, when we started to function, yes, of course, that came up again, like the first institution that was there wanted again to come back. So along the line, we said that, no, we have to come together. So that's why we moved from CCQ, which is Cameroonian Community in Qatar, to Cameroonian Diaspora Community in Qatar, because the first one was Cameroonian Diaspora in Qatar. I don't know if you're getting my point.
I get your point, but what is not clear for me is, instead of starting a new one, why didn't you guys consolidate on the existing one and just build on it?
Well, the thing is, when something is not working, for example, I wasn't part of that. Even today, I'm the chairperson of the Cameroonian Diaspora Community, because I serve in the capacity of the General Assembly representative when it was Cameroonian Community in Qatar. So due to my commitment, to the community, I deemed it necessary to step a little bit, to the position of the president, which today I'm by the grace of God, happy to serve the community. Back to what you are saying, the system wasn't what we wanted to do, because the first organization did not have the solid structure that we really needed as at that time. And of course, as time goes, things change as well. So what we were doing 10 years back is not what we are doing today. So you'll agree with me that we needed to come up with something that could suit that period, that moment. So that's why we have to bring up that one. And again, when they said no, we've been here and all that, so we said, okay, let us come together so that it's not going to be like separate communities. But what we have actually, or even today, I can't really say that we have like two communities, no, because if there is something that comes up, the embassy contacts me, and I do the needful, basically. Yeah, of course, there are people that may have also like, of course, personal relationship with people working in the embassy. That's fine, which they can also call to request any service, which is normal. But when it comes to actually things related to the community, all those things or concern are being channeled to me. Sometimes even they have to call and they get back to me. Are you aware that this? I have to say, yes, I'm aware, yes, he did inform me and all that. So that's how we function. So at the end of the day, to conclude on this, or to answer your question, there is community or platform that we have currently, even known by the Ministry of Labor, is the Cameroonian Diaspora Community in Qatar.
In Qatar. Yeah. So I had to ask that, because it was definitely what our viewers will be thinking. So why do we have two factions? Okay, why was one not consolidated on the other? So they needed to get the clarification. I thank you for sharing this clarification. At least it will be clear for them now to know that we have one Cameroonian community, just like you said.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And it's also very important to know exactly how far we've come, basically. Yeah, so it's very important to know that it was this and that, and here we are.
Great.
Okay, so this question is for both of you. So as community leaders, how challenging are your responsibilities? Dr. Omar, you could go first.
Yes, because when I talk about my community, I'm talking about 67,000 people.
Wow.
So
not 50,000 anymore.
67.
Actually.
Now, that number itself is actually a challenge.
Yes.
Before we even talk about the challenges in those numbers. Assume that 10% of those people have a problem today. What are we talking about? 6,700 people?
1,700.
Maybe that's a big number, right? Let's say 0.1% have a problem today. Those are 670. Can you imagine 670 calls coming to you every day?
Sure.
How do you manage this?
Thank you. Now that's where we are coming. I don't work alone.
Okay.
What I did after having seen the trend is that I realized majority of the people who have the problem are actually semi-skilled and non-skilled. So I wanted leadership from those groups so that I can delegate. So from the domestic workers, I asked those people who are in the domestic cycle to give me names of people that could be the contact person, so that we can actually reduce the weight of the need.
Right.
So we did that. We had those people trained by labor on how to answer to some of the questions that come. So they were trained as paralegals.
Oh, by the Ministry of Labor.
By the Ministry of Labor and BWI. So they understand when you call them about ID, they know how to go about it. When you call them about job, they know. So there's a team.
Okay.
That is a load out of me. You know, when you delegate, you're not actually taking responsibility away. You are actually dividing tasks.
Yeah.
So the reason why I feel happy today is because I don't work alone. So I delegate. The number is big, but I don't work alone. Yeah, so challenges are there. But the most important thing is that we need to remember we are better together.
Yes.
The moment you put that in your planning and your organization, it becomes easier. Yeah. So I use delegation to reduce the weight. And some of the challenges that I have, I had said domestic workers, but I have divided them. Even from the domestic aspect, we have ladies and men. So sometimes a lady will call you, you will not be able to understand from which perspective they are coming from. So we have dedicated ladies who can actually listen to them intimately, so that by the time it comes to you, the load has been reduced.
Now, just on that point, Dr. Omar, I know now the population is 67,000 of the Kenyan community. Are there any divisions, or everyone is working together, as you said?
Actually, this is a very strange phenomenon. Everybody who travels abroad, even if there are divisions back at home, they find themselves to be one.
In Qatar.
You get my point?
Okay.
This happens to most of the communities. Misunderstandings will happen, but that's human.
Yeah.
So we are here to bridge that gap as leaders.
As you said, as one we are better and stronger, and we need to continue in unity.
Agreed.
Very good. Very
Agreed.
wonderful. Thank you for that. Mr. Xavier, could you tell us with your responsibilities in the, how are they challenging for you?
Yeah, like what Dr. Omar said, you know, there will always be challenges. You are not that much big to compare as his community.
May I ask
Nonetheless,
what's the number of the...
Yeah, we are about 1,500 Cameroonians in Qatar, but that doesn't exclude that there shouldn't be challenges, like what he said.
Absolutely, there will
You know, there will be calls and all that. Sometimes you even at work, and we did the same. You know, we in order to, of course, when you are in charge, you cannot control all, basically. So we need to make sure that, you know, everybody belongs, and it is how people get involved. So by so doing, you delegate, like, okay, if this, there is a particular case on this person has to follow. If this person is not available, the next person should follow as well. That's what we do. So before it comes back to me, it must have gone to one or two.
See.
Yeah, so that's what we do. But also, there are also the other part of other challenges related to, you want to do something basically, but you're limited in terms of resources. For example, you know, the current situation right now, whereby people are losing jobs and all that, how do we support them? So that is another challenge, that even if you have the solution, you know what to do, but you're limited to resources to support them. You have to do, again, one or two things in order to, you know, at the end of the day, it is what you do that will actually determine, you know, how good you are working, because people will always say this and that. But that's how we work. The challenges are a lot, because if, you know, and again, one more thing, you cannot be a community leader if you don't have people at heart.
Absolutely.
You know, because at some point for me, before I went in, and Dr. Omar will also agree with me that if it is for me, I can live alone. If I want to renew my passport, I can go, I can pay the flight and travel. But what about those who are unable to? So that's the reason why we stepped, you know, a little bit there to say that, no, for me, I cannot just, you know, be like that. By the way, we rise up by lifting others.
Yes.
Yeah, so
then
we step up. So with the little resources that we have, we make sure that, you know, we try to put them in order to, you know, encourage those guys, you know, who are unable to, you know, even support themselves.
Yeah.
So the challenges are there, but at the end of the day, we manage what we can within our capacity, basically.
Yeah. Can you just elaborate on when you speak about resources? Can you just elaborate?
Yeah, when I talk about resources, it's like, for example, you know, Dr. Ma highlighted something related to, you know, in Qatar, for example, is a place where you have to do something in order to get something, and that's applied everywhere. For example, we here in Qatar, even if you don't have, you know, a fundamental stability on a particular domain, you can train yourself in whichever way. You can decide to go into maybe hospitality, you can, but how do you go to that? Some people, they are able to read, for example, but they don't have the means. That's what I'm saying, like resources like limited to supporting financially, which is good, because if, at the end of the day, if the community is doing well, then we are doing well. So there will be less stress in terms of lack of this, lack of that. So Dr. Ma earlier highlighted that, the challenges are coming from those who are unable, they are not stable. So they have issues of ID renewal and all that. So what we have to do, if of course maybe we have like sponsors, we have to channel those resources, financial support, to make sure that at least they have something doing.
Right.
This is one of the best way to encourage people, not just to talk, but to go by action.
To take by action, absolutely.
I will come in on that, Dr. Omar. Talking about facing these challenges, what role does the embassy play to ease the pressure that is on you as community leaders, to try to bring solutions, bring support in terms of resources that Mr. Xavier was talking about? What role does the embassy play, and what is the relationship between the community and the embassy?
Okay. Now, there is one very fundamental point that I need to bring here. All organizations outside the country are under the patronage of the embassy. So the first point of call is actually the embassy. However, for those who come through the community, they will eventually be channeled to the embassy if the issue cannot be resolved at that level. And if it goes to the embassy, for example, and it is a welfare issue, the embassy directs that welfare issue to us. So there is a relationship between the labor attaché, who is currently here, and the community leadership. Sometimes a person goes there and they need food, for example. The embassy does not have a reserve of food, but the community has a way of getting food. For example, I can call someone in that industrial area now and tell him we have a problem with a group of people there and they need food, and they will send food. Not because I've given them money, but because they feel they have a duty to support. So we do that by virtue of the fact that we are humans and we have to help each other. Sometimes we are lucky. Qatar Charity comes in and supports us every now and then.
I was coming to ask about that.
Yes.
I saw the other weekend you did a
mental health, yes.
And Qatar Charity was...
We signed up with them on welfare, and they have programs. And one of the things that we needed was a place where we could have our activities. And one activity that we did on 28th was the men's mental health, where we brought in doctors and psychologists to actually provide value in relation to mental health issues, which is actually a disaster to some community leaders. So we did it, and we recorded it, and we will make sure that we share it with the rest of the community. We will even bring it to your insight. We'll bring you the psychologists here so that you can also be,
nice
featuring that. We have to work in tandem.
Absolutely. We're very open to that, because we know that several people are having these challenges, but they don't speak.
True.
So they need to hear, they need to learn from what other people are saying, other people's experience.
Agreed.
So that was why I was excited about the program. It was a Kenya Community
Initiative,
which is
Kenya Community Initiative. So there's an organization within the Kenya community. They call themselves Gulf Good Vibes. Their responsibility is now to share what is good. See, a lot of noise is coming from here in relation to bad. When people hear that, they are discouraged. But there are good things happening here. So they want to bring them out. So that we can now talk about the positive rather than talking about the negative. So it's an offshoot of the community, trying actually to give positivity
into this, to people. Good. Mr. Xavier. I see you smiling and smiling.
Yes,
and
I see the smile.
It's like you're so anxious to say something. Is that it?
Actually, I really admire Kenyan community. How do I know that? Sorry to say this, but it should be important to say that in our church, or where I do worship, our pastor do encourage, our Kenyan brothers and sisters to go to the embassy, and they actually have some programs related to education, very cheap. That is what the embassy does. Am I right?
Yes, we have
some
contracts with some institutes.
Even some BSc. So the embassy facilitates that to their people, and then they're enjoying it very cheap. I have some people in my congregation, like they have like 1-2 BSc that they've taken here in Qatar and through the embassy.
That's a solid.
I'm not talking about the local training centers. I'm talking about like universities. Yeah, they do. So,
Delisha, I think the Kenya embassy has a lot of story to tell.
Yeah.
No, actually,
we should have them on board pretty soon.
Yes.
Agreed.
We'll invite them over to tell us more.
Yeah.
Just because of time. In one of our last episodes, we brought in a representative from the human rights, and he spoke about the outreaches, the programs that human rights is having in order to make sure that migrant workers get information about their rights. Not just only migrant workers, everyone who travels out of their country to live in Qatar should know their rights. So they said they were doing some community outreaches with community leaders. So I want to ask Dr. Omar, what do you have to say to this? Do you have outreaches you've done with them? And how are you making sure that your Kenyan communities know their rights?
Okay.
Their rights are protected, their rights are not violated by employers or any other authority?
Okay, fine. I had indicated here in relation to the division of responsibility. Majority of what the human rights did was to cover the lower cadre in relation to those people who are non-skilled.
Yeah.
So they brought in booklets, which are in English and in our lingua, Swahili.
Several languages.
I've seen them, and we took them, and I gave it to my team to distribute to those people who need, because not everybody needs them. There are those people who already know their rights, but there are those people who don't know their rights. So those books were in two aspects. There was an aspect of the employer knowing what right they have and the role and their responsibility, and there was the aspect of the employee as well. So those we provided to the group responsible for domestic workers to circulate. I truly believe and trust that that job was done, because after some time there was a reduction in relation to, I need this, how do I? So information request was not coming, meaning the people were getting aware. I'm not saying it is 100%, but I'm saying there was an input that has come from human rights, ILO, and those documents came actually from human rights and ILO.
Okay, great. Mr. Xavier, have you had any engagement with the National Human Rights Committee? Does this apply to you also?
Yeah, unfortunately no, but I think it's something good to look into, not just look into, to also try to grab and seize the opportunity, because our people need to be educated when it comes to their rights. Our people need to know exactly what they should do. So I will look into that. Maybe after now, I will have to talk to Dr. Omar on how to go about it, basically.
Yes,
please,
you should do it, because
everyone
who is resident in Qatar should know their rights and also know the limits of their rights. It's not just about knowing your rights.
Very
you also
true.
know that your rights have a limit.
Yeah, true.
Right? So this would be good.
Yeah.
So try to create this platform. Dr. Omar is always very supportive so he can help you to go through that.
I needed to chip in a bit. There was an element of synergy. During the time when we were doing the mental health, there were several departments that came. Ministry of Public Health came. Their own psychologist came. Ministry of Labor came. They had their own representatives there. Human Rights also came. They had their own representative. So we are trying as much as possible while we are doing these programs to have the presence of the authority for validation, and good. Also telling that as a community we are doing something towards solving some of the problems we have. So I think this is something that we need to carry home.
Which is good. Good. So viewers, you can see the community leaders are doing a lot of hard work trying to create programs for your benefit. So make sure you associate yourself with some of your community, not some, your specific community, and look out for their programs so that you can benefit from the information and the outreaches they do. So I will encourage you to keep doing this, and please make sure when you create these programs, you try to publicize it so that people will know and people don't miss out. All right? Alicia, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Awareness is always the way to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So I have a question for both of you. Let's talk about the World Cup, Qatar 2022. For Cameroon, I believe that your team participated in the tournament, and you can tell us about your experience after this. But can you tell me how involved were the communities in during this time of the World Cup? Dr. Omar, if you could go first.
Okay. One of the most important aspect of the event was actually entertainment.
Yes.
People had to be entertained.
Yes.
Because, I mean, for the purpose of ensuring that people were happy and were in the mood of sports, people needed to be entertained. So we brought in a culture aspect as a community. We had our team doing entertainment called Green Masai.
Green Masai, yes.
They were part and parcel of the team that did the lounge from inception until the end. They were engaged in several places in the stadiums, and they were doing the dances and all that, trying to make people happy in the process by sharing cultural practices in relation to dance and entertainment. That was one aspect. And the next aspect was the volunteer aspect. A number of Kenyans were part and parcel of the volunteer team,
program, yeah.
and we are happy to have been associated with the World Cup. We did our best.
Your best was really good because during the World Cup, several places we went to, we saw the African prints through the Kenyan cultural troops and other communities. The Green Masai troops, I must say, they were seen everywhere. Yes. They were seen, even most of the post-production of the World Cup, you could see them everywhere.
True.
What about you, Mr. Xavier?
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting I mean, it was a great opportunity for us to not just showcase our culture, but the fact that Cameroon national team did participate as well in the tournament. It was very, very, so we did a lot of things, among which within the community we had some parade that took place. And then the Supreme Committee is also part of our partner, so we had to work with them for these cultural, performances that took place in different places, like industrial area, like Mall of Qatar and all that, even around the stadium. And we've been doing it even earlier before the World Cup. We did also participate for this Arab
Cup.
Yeah. So, and then that's one of the ways actually that help us to get some money, because they have to give us something, so we go on and perform. So that makes it, even before the World Cup came, we were already in touch with them, and during the World Cup we put in place a lot of things. And by the way, when it comes also to tickets, we were privileged to have tickets, from our embassy. Cameroonians had free tickets, even to go to the stadiums and support the Indomitable Lions. And then even if the number did not cover everybody, but we really appreciate the fact that we got those free tickets. And basically that's what we did. We did really involve ourselves, during the World Cup. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is that Cameroon, beat Brazil.
I was actually coming to ask you what was the most interesting part of the World Cup for you, because I know quite right that would be the most interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or do you have any other one?
Yeah, that was the most interesting.
Can you say it again so that
because
hear you? Maybe they
it was actually, I was in the stadium and it was kind of frustrating that when you look at the entire stadium and it was like yellow and all that. And by the way, the major part of Brazil fans were also from Indians, or India rather.
Yeah, yeah.
So the stadium was full, and then, you could barely see the green, which, so at the end of the day, when we beat them, even if we didn't go further in the competition, but at least that was our great satisfaction.
That was like winning the trophy for you.
Exactly.
Yes.
The Kenyan football team, the Cameroon football team. They're waiting to hear what I
There's
want to say.
pressure in the room.
Okay, now, these two teams, let's assume on a match, who wins? Who's going to win if you guys get to play?
One of, I can tell you for a fact, Cameroon is a senior team.
It's a senior team.
Agreed.
Kenya is a junior
I
team.
have to admit. But I have also to mention that when we were called in for a sports diplomacy to play with Qatar national team,
Yes.
we beat Qatar national team here in Qatar.
That's your pride, yeah?
That's our pride.
But,
That's our
but if
pride.
you hit up with Cameroon,
We have
you
to
don't win them.
No, we cannot. Outright, I don't need to look for words. We cannot. At this particular moment in time, no.
Okay. So you're
But-
comfortable
but-
with the glory of winning Qatar?
No, we are. Football is work in progress. We are coming there.
Okay.
So
I love that. This competition will be so good. If it
Yes.
happens that we get to play together, I hope the match happens in Qatar.
I think
Because
we'll all
Qatar is
be on
hosting
our
so many
toes.
foreign matches.
True.
Yeah.
So I hope that match happens in Qatar so that we see this in the reality. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Just before
We'll
we
be on our
go,
toes.
just to end this section so that we don't keep you waiting and the producer don't get angry with us. Qatar has been portrayed in a very in a different way, wrong way per se, I would say, but we want to hear your opinion. People think Qatar, it's a difficult country, the rules are tight, so it's not safe to do business or even come to visit. You've been here. In just one sentence or two, what will you say in response to this? What's your opinion?
I have a question to the viewers.
Okay.
The population of Qatar is 3.2 million or something.
About that, yeah.
And Qataris are actually 10% of that. That is a demographic catastrophe by virtue of planning. When the original citizens are 10% of the population that is coming from outside, it is a security catastrophe. So therefore you must have rules.
Yes.
If you don't have rules, you will not be able to control the community. That is one. So the need to have regulation is necessary because of that aspect. Second, we have a number of cultures coming in. It's actually a boiling pot of cultures. All these people have preferences. Some of these preferences cross over. If you do not have rules and regulations, you cannot survive. So I have to give it to them. If they don't have rules, it will be chaos. So whether the rules are necessary to be there or not, I think the situation demands that rules are supposed to be there. Is Qatar, compared to other countries, worse off in relation to how they take care of their people? I don't believe that, because I've been here for 19 years. Staying for 19 years is a legacy itself.
True.
It indicates if I was tired about the culture and the way things are here, I would have gone
Here.
long time ago. The opportunities available in Qatar in relation to those people who are ready to grab those opportunities are immense. I will give an example. I came in this country as a guard, security guard standing on the door. Today, I am actually not only a senior information security specialist, but I'm a doctor.
Yes.
It has taken me 15 years
Wow.
to actually move to that level. So if this country was not giving opportunities, how would I be able to do this? The only thing that you need to do is you focus. The environment will respond based on how you
Position.
conduct yourself and position yourself. So I will not blame the environment. I blame the attitude of the people.
Okay. So you can say categorically that Qatar is safe to do business?
Safer than most of the countries in the world.
Okay. Mr. Xavier, just in one sentence, sorry, I have to make it very short for you. What will you say about that? Is it safe to do business and to visit, to live in?
It's safe. I like what Dr. Omar earlier said. That brings me to see my personal life because, by the way, I'm a French-speaking Cameroonian. And even when I came to Qatar 11 years ago, I wasn't even speaking English.
Oh, you learned English in Qatar?
I did.
And
then,
hold on. You learned English in an Arabic country?
Yes, I did. So what I want to say is that there's no country that does not have law or rules.
Okay.
And then, like, again, in line with what Dr. Omar said, you have to put, guidelines in place in order to ensure that the people who are coming in, will not come and, cause problem, basically. So which means that what people say about Qatar is not actually what it is. I use myself as an example. Even Dr. Omar said it again that, it's a place where you can actually grow. When I came here, even if I had a degree in civil engineering, of course, in French, that did not give me actually the access to get into the job market and all that because I have to go through. I have to learn English and all that. I have to adapt. And again, today I'm very thankful to Qatar because if I've come to a place where I could do whatever I want, I'm not sure that I should have been what I am today. So that also shaped and framed me to know that, no, I need to know that if I do this, I'll be punished. If I get out of this, then it is what I will face as consequences. So it is like that everywhere. And if people should say that, it's those, again, who are, sorry to say I'm not boasting, but people need to know the truth about this. Like, when you have not done something, the only thing you can say is to be negative about that thing. But if you have actually invested yourself, right here in Qatar, and the privilege that we have in Qatar to grow, it's difficult. I was privileged to visit America, I think 2 weeks ago. I saw how people run there, and I was comparing to the 11 years I've passed in Qatar and over there. You see, everybody runs like, people are just being relaxed here. I can use my phone while at work, but there it's not the same. The life is like people are running after the time. They run, you need to catch the subway, you run, you need to do this. Even you even want to ask somebody that, okay, I'm looking for this, because he has no time. He doesn't have time, he has to catch up. So it's like over there, people are rushing like, it is like ×5. And here in Qatar, you just be relaxed. You can even go to your work late, 30 minutes late. And, you can even be on the phone and all that. The stress is less. So at the end of the day, I just want to tell our viewers that you need to be in a country to know exactly how things work. You cannot know exactly how things work if you are outside of the country. Like Dr. Omar said, he's a living testimony. In 19 years in Doha, that's a lot. 11 years in Doha, that's a lot. And when I look at how, tremendously I took myself, I can only be thankful to the country, basically. So people need to, to adapt and accept. Even back home, you cannot do anyhow. It's not in a foreign land that you should come and do anyhow. Right. And of course, if you have to do anyhow, then you be ready to face consequences, basically.
Yes. So on that note, Mr. Xavier, what would you say? We know Qatar has invested a lot in tourism with high expectations. So what would you say to people in Africa who would want to visit and invest in Qatar? What would your message be to them to encourage them?
Yeah, I can really encourage them to come and see first, because even during World Cup, I had a brother who came from France, and he was like, wow, the city is so clean and all that. He was amazed basically with the infrastructure. He said it's not the same way in France. Like you can see things and all that. So these are one of the ways. And he went back with a good picture. Even people, I don't know how it is, but people who are outside of Qatar see Qatar in a different way. Like they say that, no, we can,
change,
but that's not actually true. It's not true. For you to live in a country, you need to abide in the laws.
Yeah.
And for you to actually prosper, you need to know exactly, you need to understand how the system works. So for me, I will say that Qatar is the best place.
It's safe,
it's
clean.
to invest your money. It is safe, it is clean, secure, and all that. So, and this is one of the things that people are looking for when you want to migrate or want to relocate or want to live somewhere. You should be in a place where it is safe. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Omar. Just a follow-up to her question, just in one sentence. Okay. So what will you advise our viewers back home in Africa?
Actually, I got a visit from one of my family friends there. They came here for holiday as a family.
Okay.
And they were saying very far, closer to Saudi. There's a very nice restaurant there and very nice hotel. They were amazed. And in fact, when I took them to the embassy, the first thing they said is, how do we do business here?
Wow.
And maybe in the next 3 months or so, they are planning to open an African restaurant here.
In Qatar.
Now,
Amazing.
for a person who's come for holiday and appreciate that value, and the fact that they are coming to invest here, it means you don't need to sell too much, because already that is legendary service. They were happy and they are prepared to come and do business. So to me, tourism in Qatar is undersold. We need to tell people that they need to come.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been so lovely talking with you. But in any case, dear viewers, if you have any questions for your community leaders, you can put it down on the comment section. Don't worry, we'll make sure that your community leaders get your questions. We'll pass them all to you, and we'll be hoping that you give us response so that we can take back to our viewers.
Great.
And you can also be on the platform and also answer their questions. Your team, one of your team members can be on our platform to answer their questions. Okay. So on that note, thank you very much, and it was good having a conversation, very insightful. Delisha,
Very, very
I think
insightful.
we are good.
We're good. Okay. Well, it's really, really been wonderful. Just to appreciate you all for your time, we have a little gift to offer to you as a token of our appreciation.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So on behalf of The Insight, the one and only.
Okay.
Just give this to you.
I think we should stand up to do this.
Yes? Okay.
Okay. It's taken. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you.
this is just a little thing for us to say thank you.
I appreciate. This is good.
We look forward to having you again on our studios.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yes, to our wonderful viewers, thank you so much for joining us on yet another amazing podcast on The Insight. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook at The Insight by Oryx. Don't forget to comment down below. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear your comments, and your interaction means a lot to us, as well as your support. And please also don't forget to click on the notification bell, which will keep you updated on all the videos that we will update you with. Thank you so much once again. We are looking forward to having you join us again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a wonderful week.